We are talking about Basket Case from 1982. Is it awesome or awful? We're about to find out. Hey everybody, this is Mike from FearShop.com. Today, we're going to be talking about Basket Case from 1982. Frank Henenlotter's really ultra low budget, $35K film. Spawned a bunch of sequels, became a cult classic in the horror community. Before we talk about this movie a little bit today, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button for me. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you're subscribing. Set up notifications so you know when the next video drops. Make sure you're leaving your comments. And also, leave me some feedback about what types of videos that you like, which ones you want to see more of. We have a bunch of playlists going, so make sure you're checking out all the playlists. Love the support that we're getting, and just want to see more. So tell me exactly the kinds of things you want to see, and I'll make sure those are the videos that we're going to be making. Alright, so we're going to be talking about Basket Case from 1982, and this is our awesome or awful series. So basically what we do is we break down the moments of the film that are awesome, weigh them against the awful elements of the film, then we come down with a verdict. Is the film truly awesome, or is it awful? It's a very black and white way of looking at things, but it's kind of fun to do, to be honest with you, for the most part. When I start writing out ideas for these videos, I'm not even sure which side I'm going to fall on for some of these movies. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go on Basket Case. This is, film near and dear to me. Early 80s film in 1982. Things were a little bit different. Things were probably a little more cheesy than we're used to seeing now, without a shadow of a doubt. And Basket Case is even more of a throwback of sorts, even in the early 80s. I mean, you're talking about a grindhouse type of film, a sleazy film, right? That's something you would see more even in the 70s. And I think that's one of the things that this film did well. So, synopsis of the movie is: a young man carrying a big basket that contains his extremely deformed Siamese twin brother seeks vengeance on the doctors who separated them against their will. It's funny, when I look back at this film, I don't watch it all too often. Obviously, I rewatched it for this video, and also it was fresh in my head. And every time I watch it, I'm like, man, I forgot that they show Belial pretty early on in the movie. And I thought it was kind of like a big reveal, like Sleepaway Camp had a big reveal at the end. No, but he's pretty much in the whole movie, and you see him. So, all right. Again, Frank Henenlotter, really ultra low budget film at $35K. So, let's see the awesome parts of this movie. Number one, the suspense of what is in the basket keeps the viewer wondering what it could be. Again, like I said, you kind of see Belial fairly early on. But as you're watching the movie, you're like, man, what's in there? Keep in mind, 1982, there weren't websites posting too much about what these movies were, right? We didn't really have a synopsis about the films. If we wanted to see a trailer, that trailer was seen in movie theaters. There wasn't a YouTube out there. So we knew very little about what was going on. So it was kind of a mystery. Another awesome element: the film is sleazy, and that's what they're going for. This is grindhouse at near its best. Of course, grindhouse is not for everyone. Everything about this movie just says sleazy. The characters, the backdrops, the sleazy hotel that he's in, the sleazy doctors. And it's what they were going for, and it worked. Another awesome element: Kevin Van Hentenryck as Dwayne is really good. He's shy and creepy all at the same time. Man, he can be creepy with some of what he says. But then a lot of times he's just this innocent little goober. There's that whole scene in the bar where he, spills the beans about his deformed brother that he keeps in the basket. And, he's just some goofy guy. But then, he's definitely out for revenge. Another awesome element. This film shows you do not need a big budget to make an interesting movie. Sometimes if you think outside of the box, or I guess in this case the basket, you can really come up with some cool ideas. Another awesome element. Belial's screams are frightening. Another awesome element. The entire backstory with the dad and the surgery is absolutely brutal. You feel for both Dwayne and Belial right away. You have the heroine in the story is his aunt who comes and saves them. But that scene where they just basically just put him up and separate Belial from Dwayne is just absolutely brutal. Just as how hateful the dad is and just everything about it is, it just fits everything in this film. Another awesome element, the effect at the end when Belial flashes the red eyes, it's still frightening. I know there are a lot of cheesy elements in this film, with some of the effects. I think that was a really good one, though. Another awesome element. Another great scene at the end is with Belial and Dwayne's girlfriend. I don't want to give too much away. It's something you probably want to check out. But there was just, this creepy scene in there. And last and final awesome element, the ending of the film is most definitely iconic. You probably would have seen, Dwayne and Belial just kind of hanging there. And even if you had never heard of the movie before. All right, so we had a fair amount of awesome elements, which I will say I'm kind of surprised at. So let's get into some of the awful elements to see if they outweigh the awesome. Awful element is most of the acting. Some of it was because they had low budget actors. Some of it was the effect that they were probably going for, given that sleazy grindhouse feel. But some of it was a little either too over the top or just downright amateurish. Another awful element is most of the dialogue. To be honest, there's some elements in there that are people are talking and you're interested, but a lot of the stuff is just it was bad even for early 80s. Another awful element, I kind of hinted at it a little bit. At times, the effects are ridiculous. A lot of the claymation kind of stuff that's going on, the stop motion. Low budget doesn't always mean horrible effects, but you kind of just take it with a grain of salt in this movie. This wasn't like it because it was an 80s thing. That was just what they did. They put it on film and they were happy enough with it to put it out there. So another awful element, and this one's kind of a pet peeve of mine, I guess. I had kind of mentioned, Belial screams can be kind of frightening. One thing you should definitely note is there is a ton of screaming in this film. Screaming from everywhere. Most of it from Belial, but also from others. I don't know why in this film it stands out much more to me. At times, borderline annoying. So, it's unfortunate, but again, I think I have enough fun with the film that I can bypass that. And to be honest, like I said, it's a pet peeve of mine when you just have a lot of unnecessary screaming going on. So, I am happy to report that is really all the awful elements that I could list. I'll admit I was kind of surprised. The film far from perfect, right? A lot of people look at this film and be like, wow, this is just trash, right? This is utter garbage. Quite a lot of people actually would say that kind of thing. But to me, I guess I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. And probably just given how young I was when I had watched this, I would say if I watched this now for the first time, I am pretty sure my opinion on it would differ greatly than what it does now. So, like we do in these videos, we list out the awesome elements, we list out the awful elements, we weigh them to come to a verdict, and the verdict on Basket Case from 1982 is that Basket Case is indeed awesome. as much as people love to hate the film, you have to appreciate it for what it's for. It's not winning awards anytime soon, but it is a grindhouse classic that's always fun to watch. It even spawned some pretty fun sequels. So if you've never seen the sequels, you might want to check them out. I would say they're a little more different than the original one was. Definitely lesser films. You know, the original is by far the more iconic, for me at least. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about it. Do you agree that Basket Case is indeed an awesome movie? Or do you think it's awful? I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of differing opinions on this one, so come at it. You know, post it in your comments and let me know which side of the fence you're on this one. So make sure, again, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're leaving his comments. But most of all, make sure you keep it horror.